welcome to the jankiest recap yet for session 10. Let's get into that heckin' recap. So, our session started with everybody waking up after a drunken, perhaps, stupor. We find Drugar waking up in what seems to be a cell. He's in there with a couple of other people. A guard walks over, and we find out that basically he's woken up in the drunk tank. They let him out now that he is no longer inebriated and a danger to everyone around him. When he gets out of the drunk tank, he tries to make friends, of course, the way Drugar does, with one of the other people who was in there, and the guy's like, yeah, like, I'd love to catch a drink with you later, perhaps, but I'm late for class. Drugar's like, okay, if I'm gonna find my friends anywhere, we'll probably meet back where, like, the last place that I remember being is. He's not feeling great, but he goes back to the Shady Canopy to wait. We now flip over to Latruda and Harry waking up, spooning in a bed, with a lot of other people in the room with them. As the sun begins shining in the windows, some of the other people are getting up in a rush, putting on black robes with colored collars, and we find out that it's probably that they're running off to class. The Latruda and Harry realize that something happened in the cemetery outside, realizing that they are in the necromancy district, and some memories kind of come back of dancing skyclad in a circle around a fire, throwing things into it, and so they decide they need to go figure out if they were a part of whatever's happening over at the cemetery right now. Latruda does send Fox to go find food. Fox finds Drugar and brings Drugar back with some sweets, and they meet up at the cemetery. They find what looks like a ritual circle with the remnants of a fire in the middle. They can't really figure much else out from it other than that. They try going to find the groundskeeper. They can't find him. There's no groundskeeper there at the moment. Harry does try to figure out what kind of magic created this circle, but he doesn't really find anything that he wouldn't have already known. So Drugar then is like, look, we have things to do. And he's like, I need to go scry for my friends. I don't care about any of the other stuff, but that is the one thing that I really need to do. And so they go off to the Purple District. They meet up with Oriana the Oracle. And she actually ends up finding them on the street saying, oh my gosh, you are the people I'm looking for. I have a message for you. Please come back to my shop. So she brings them back to the Oracle, which is her little, like, divination shop, brings them into the back and gives them a message. And basically, they all join hands. They can all see this message themselves, like, while she's like a conduit for it, I suppose. And it shows this kind of nondescript dude in a black robe with a blue collar. He's standing there with his eyes closed in the middle of a forest, and he takes one deliberate step and stops, a second deliberate step and stops, and suddenly the terrain changes. He takes one more step and he's gone. It looks like time speeds up, like a time lapse, and suddenly there's a flash and there's a circle, an empty glade, just like ones that the party has seen before. And then Yagak shows up in the middle of this glade. So after this, the party wants to ask a couple of questions, and they do. And then Oriana also offers them a free reading because she feels like they are important. They have, like, very strong energies. And so she does a reading for each of them. So Drugar's first, and Drugar's vision is of his hometown, and at the very last second catches a glimpse of one of his missing party members. Harry goes next, and this one is a little muddier. It's seeming that Harry doesn't really Harry doesn't have like strong conviction about some decisions that he might make in the future, but she does tell him that she sees him teaching magic. There are a lot of different ways that could happen, but that's something that she definitely sees, whether it's an apprentice or teaching classes. Who knows? So Latruda goes next, and Latruda's vision has them walking up some stairs very briskly, throwing open a door and screaming at a man in a bed. The man wakes up and turns around and screams back, and we recognize him from a long time ago, or at least many sessions ago. It's really not that long time-wise, but from the dream fight sequence, it's the the man from Latruda's past that we don't really know a whole lot about inside the campaign yet. We know that he's a bad, bad man, though. And so Latruda, like, gets into an altercation, basically, and we see one gloved hand reaching out, holding him down, and another gloved hand holding a dagger. And Oriana ends this with saying, I guess you get a new hand. And thinking that she's done, she's like, is there any more questions? I have, other patrons out there. And Latruda's like, you haven't done our whole party yet. And she's kind of like confused. Fox hasn't had a reading yet. And so she takes Fox's paws in her hands. And she's like, I don't know if I've ever read for an animal before, but there's no harm in trying. And so this vision is basically just a bunch of flashes of like spending happy time with Latruda, and just like this overwhelming feeling of companionship and love and protection. And Latruda gets a little teary about this. But then they are on their way, and it is time to hit the other districts that they planned on hitting the day before they got sidetracked in the Necromancy district. And so they hit the Blue district, the Conjuration district next. They don't really know what they're looking for, so they kind of just start yelling at people, hey, you, help me. And eventually they're told, maybe the best place to ask these questions is to a professor. And so they go off to the interior of the colored districts, and they find a room or a building full of like classrooms. And they talk to somebody in one of those empty-ish classrooms. He's the only one in there. And they're like, look, like we had this vision. We figured conjuration, plane shifting, that's the right place to be looking. And basically, like they ask a couple questions about that. They ask, like, has anybody gone missing? And they realize that they've heard about a thesis student who just stopped coming in for their thesis meetings. And the party's told that the person the professor that they were meeting with was Babar. I'm great at naming people. It gets better if you know who Babar is. So when so they're directed to the offices, and they find Babar's office, and when Babar opens the door, it's a Loxodon. So for anybody who doesn't know, that is an elephant-headed man. If you know who Babar is is a little like anthropomorphic elephant from a cartoon. But that's besides the point. So they go in, they ask Babar some more questions about this thesis student who went missing. And he's like, yeah, that sounds like the thesis student that went missing. Where is this portal? I feel like I should probably get some people together to go check it out. And so they're like, well, like, we're gonna get the guy who disappeared and reappeared to show us. So if you like gather your people and you're off to check it out, like, how can we contact you? And he gives them sending stones. And so they take one of the sending stones, and then they're off to their next district. The next district that they want to check out is the Red District, or Evocation, specifically looking for healing for Latruda. And so they find a hospital. It's a student hospital, so all of the doctors are most of the doctors are students learning how to heal, along with a couple of people overseeing them, obviously. But the receptionist is basically like, this isn't really the place for like healing like that. This is more for like small wounds, pain, that kind of thing. So we can help you with the pain if you're in any, but we can't regrow any limbs for you. That would be for somebody else. And so they do want to look further into this. It is getting late in the day, and so they decide that Latruda. Oh. So Harry decides to use the sending stone and gets the response, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because the sending stone only works once a day. And so now they're useless until dawn the next day, which is probably just fine. I don't think that they were gonna go out in the middle of the night anyhow, but it was still a very frustrating thing to lose that communication. And so Latruda decides to go back to Babar's office, and Drugar and Harry decide to hit the last district that they wanted to check out, which was the Transmutation District, or the Yellow District. And they were told that this would be a good place for weapons. And that's where we leave it. Latruda is off to see Babar, and Harry and Drugar are off to do a little bit more shopping. Hopefully they get there before, the shops close. And that's where we're going to be starting at session 11 tomorrow, which will be December 17th. I hope that's the Saturday. I'll correct it up here if I'm wrong. But I hope to see you guys there. Sorry there wasn't a highlight. The highlight will still come. I also do plan on doing kind of like campaign up till now. So I'm going to do like a highlight recap of everything that's happened. Keep in mind too, we have a big ol' announcement coming in tomorrow. So if you want to see that live instead of waiting, do that. You can also keep an eye on like my socials and stuff, and the announcement will go up there as well. But I feel like it's different when you're there live. So hopefully we will see you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for checking out Chicka D&D. If you liked what you saw, click all the buttons down below. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Also, it'd be really cool if you came and checked us out live at Chickadee93 on Twitch, where you get to participate in the conversation or watch us play D&D on campaign days. Thank you again so much. See you next time. Bye.